Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is a hump of the week, Wednesday morning, a beautiful Wednesday morning. I have to add on the smooth breakfast. Yours truly is Ayokunmi. And time to take you into the locker room. It's all about sports, all the latest headlines making the round. So much to talk about, so much to sink our teeth into on a Wednesday morning. And when I say our teeth, not only my teeth, because Tega is with me in the studio.
Good morning, everybody. One day I will just stand outside this studio going, good morning, everybody. What's happened? All right. So in the world of sports, I just want to let you all know things are going as they are going. We are yet to win a medal. We were hopeful of two medals yesterday. Don't waste your time. We were hopeful of two medals yesterday.
Miracles do happen.
We didn't win anyone.
Well,
So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the NOC, touch a little bit, just a little bit on them.
okay.
Because there's a lot of incompetence, so we'll touch a little bit.
A little on a lot of
On a lot of
incompetence.
incompetence.
I like that.
Yeah. We'll also talk about football. Spain was stunned yesterday.
I was stunned as
I
well.
don't think they have recovered. I don't think they have recovered. But we'll touch on their story. We'll also talk about the season that is about to start.
Right.
And so there's a lot going on in the world of sport. Before we do any talking, please, Ayo, tell them how can they be part of the locker room this morning?
Right. You can be a part of the locker room brought to you by Visa by sending in your messages to us on WhatsApp. The number is 0809440981. You can also give us a call on the studio line, which will open when we give you times, right? That is 0201448991. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live. That's Smooth 981 FM Lagos. It's fun having you studio on YouTube. Trust me, to see all the shenanigans before behind the scenes. So that is how we part of the show. So without further ado, let me clue you into what we're talking about this morning. We're talking about the Paris Olympics. Team Nigeria's medal hopes dim as we bow out of 10. Yes, 1-0, 10 events. Algerian boxer in Olympic gender row marches into the final, punches her way into the final. Myself. And the US overpowered Brazil to reach Olympic basketball semi-finals. Not so much of a surprise there. Duplantis fulfills childhood dream with world record to win Olympic gold. I was hoping and praying this story would be on here. And it is, because Duplantis is not human. And then the USA edged Germany in extra time to reach Olympic women's football final. And Henry living a dream as France reached Olympic men's football final. The host in the final of that one. Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, who's at Lille in Champions League qualifying. Atletico agreed £81.5 million deal for Manchester City's Julian Alvarez. It's 1.5 million. We'll get to that eventually, but let's start at the beginning, Tega, and talk about the Paris Olympics. And of course, as you said, two medals won yesterday, but well,
something to something. All right, so let's start. Let's start with the story. So Nigeria had an opportunity. So the two medals we're talking about, we're talking of wrestling. So Blessing Oborodudu, who won silver the last time out. Yeah, so we thought, she was looking good, winning one fight at the other, but after the other. But I think wrestling schedule is a bit tricky. She fought 3 times in one day to get to the semifinals. I was like, but the Olympics is still on to the 11th now. Why they're squeezing the fights? And we started seeing why they're squeezing wrestling fights together. But yeah, it was not, it was their scheduling. It wasn't, I don't know. It was tedious because I know they look at it as it's Roman wrestling, but really, even WWE, they can't do 3 fights in one day now. But she did that and she got all the way to the semifinals. Then she lost in the semifinals, which meant she was going to um go for bronze. So it was her bronze fight that she lost again. And that was so we're almost certain that okay, this girl is going to get us at least bronze medal. Let's just get on the scoreboard. You know that medal table. Nigeria is not on it. Nigeria is not on that table. There are different countries on that table. Some countries, they don't even have the number of people that we have in Lagos. Sorry, they don't even have the number of people that we have in Amu Ward of local government. They're on the table. But we're not there. So I was just hoping that, she'd just win the bronze so that her name will enter the list. Efia, she lost. She lost her bronze medal. Another event we were hopeful about was the 200 meters. So after Favour Philly had been disappointed by the NOC and the AFN, whoever is in charge, all of them put together. And the sports minister said he's going to investigate and get back to us. So we are we are holding him. We are waiting for him because when he comes back from that Paris, the first thing he must tell us is who is getting fired. That's my first question to him. Mr. Minister, who are we firing for all these problems? And I will tell you why as we go further. So she made her way all the way to the finals. And we're very hopeful because she was fast.
Yes, she was.
She was good. The first thing that made my heart to put was that they put her in lane 9. I said, child, wickedness in her place.
Is lane 9 really a bad
lane? Lane 9 is a bad lane. There's nothing good about lane 9. Lane 9 is not where children of God should be running. Whoever thought of lane 9, we need to arrest him. But it's not such a good line because it is, number one, it is psychologically, allegedly, you're going to be starting ahead. But when you get to the curve, that's when you know how long lane 9 is. Because once other people have already made it through the curve, at that lane 9, you are just starting walk. That's when your morning is breaking. And it's that curve that is key when you're running 200 meters or 400 meters. That curve is it. Once you get to that bend, that's when you realize that, wait, this lane 9 is not as good as people always say. It's not a great lane, truth be told. And I don't know many people that want to be drawn in lane 9, But my first fear when they put her there, I was like, God, because I was anticipating that if she was somewhere in the middle, somewhere near to Julian Alfred or Gabby Thomas, who for me was clear favorite to win it. Julian Alfred actually gave me an opportunity. It looked like she was going to give Gabby Thomas, a competition. That was what Julian Alfred was going to give us. But if Favour was in and around those two athletes, then she'll be measuring her performance by them because they'll be in a line of sight. That lane 9, you're not really seeing anybody. You're in the outer court, really. You're not in the inner chamber. Do you understand? You can't really see the competition. And so, but when the race started, she looked good, then she struggled, and she really started struggling around the bend. And that's she ended up finishing 6th with Gabby Thomas winning the race convincingly. Yeah. Then she was gone with the wind, literally. So interesting one, sad one for Favour Philly. I think what really broke my heart was after the race. Usually you walk down through the cooling room and she walked through the mix zone and she started crying. And it was not small cry. It was like it was not like I lost. It was a real breakdown in tears, loud and everything, and there was no protocol officer from the NOC. Like the minister is in Paris, and there was no protocol officer for our athletes after the race. What are we doing?
There are so many.
What are we doing? And people, it's these little foxes that spoil the vine. Your athlete just finished competing. I haven't changed. It reminds me of Choma Ajua when she won gold. We had no official around when Choma Ajua won gold. That's why we thought football was the first gold medal we won. Choma won her gold before the football. It's the most ridiculous thing. And you remember when Choma won gold? Look, what year is this? This 2004.
2024.
Sorry, 2024. So the problems are still the problems. Nobody was there. Let me tell you, there was one Nigerian journalist from Abuja that was there. She was the one that was hugging Favour. Then there was a Kenyan journalist saying, let her cry. Because just let her cry. And because the truth is, at that point in time, sometimes you just need to let it all out. And then there was the Ghanaian journalist. No protocol officer. Nobody was there for Favour. And then somebody started making the excuse that she came out to out them on social media. So why should they be there for her? It's your job to be there for her. You're not telling you to be there for her as a family or as a friend or as a kind-hearted person. It's your job. Well, let me even tell you why. So remember Tokyo Olympics. Favor of Philly was one of those athletes that couldn't compete because the NOC and the AFN failed them. Do you know that one of our athletes from that time, Annette, she now switched back to America. She won silver in Hammer yesterday. Silver.
Okay.
Yes.
Annette.
Yes, she was one of the yes, she was one of the athletes that we disappointed in Tokyo. And she switched back to America. She denied herself 2 years of competition to switch back to America. She now came to this Olympics and she won silver. That is the level. So when you see Nigerians switching countries for it's all these little things. That disappointment, she said she had to go to therapy for that disappointment in Tokyo. Favor of Philly would need therapy. The way she broke down yesterday, she was disappointed in herself, number one, but also everything that had all the events that had gone on in the past few days. It's a lot. It's a lot that we put on these athletes.
Before we leave the story, Favor is 21.
Yeah.
2 Olympics, one and partial disappointments, if I can say so. It won't surprise anyone if Favor decides, you know what, I'm 21, I'm just getting into my.
I can afford to lose 2 years. I'll still compete at 23. She don't like Michael will now open podcast, put ring lights.
Let's go to the next one. Where Algerian boxer was involved in the gender controversy at the Paris Olympics, won the semi-final against the severity, at least a silver medal in front of a Rufus Roland Garros crowd that chanted her name. Yes, so the Algerians are really supporting her and all those movements, those other movements. and the thing about the movements is that they do not recognize in the end that they're hurting their movement. Because the people, like I say, the people that are getting the shorter end of the stick at the end of the day is biological females. So because you put in somebody that could be defined as a biological male in a ring against a biological female, and now she's gone all the way to the final, that's a medal that a biological female could have won. So at the end of the day, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, and it will come around the bend. All these things when you're short-sighted in your activism, it will come around the bend and bite them in the backside. So yes, Imani Khalif, the female boxer amidst the gender role, is now in the final. I don't know who wants to beat her, but we're waiting to see. I mean, she has lost 9 fights in her career. So
but you see, yeah, sometimes when they say she's lost 9 fights, it's like that weightlifter that he lost out of the medals. The transgender weightlifter from Australia that went to compete, and he could lift twice the size of all the biological females there. But he ended up losing on technicality. So it was not that he couldn't lift the weight, it was that he didn't pause and then push up immediately. Sometimes it's technicality. So when they say sometimes they have lost fights, so you have to check. All right.
Okay, let's take a quick
break, and then when we come back, we have a lot of stories. Yeah, I'm going. No, it's cold here. I'm going. Don't put plenty at, but we have plenty stories. Let me run outside.
My name's Grace, and if you have good music, stay tuned to 98.1. I can't actually.
Hello everyone, this is your favorite Nigerian soul singer, Maka, and you're listening to the Smooth Breakfast.
Yeah, come back to the Smooth Breakfast. Like, yeah, what's smooth and you come. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the locker room on Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is a hump of Wednesday morning. Ayokunmi and of course Tega are in the studio. We are having such a great time talking about the latest sports stories and making the rounds. You can join in on the conversation by sharing your thoughts with us on 0809-440-981.
All right.
YouTube, it's Smooth 91 FM in Lagos. You can see us, you know, in all our cuteness in the studio.
Yeah. So while we're talking about the Olympics, let's touch a little bit on one of the brands that made it happen. So Visa on the global stage championing inclusivity and culture. Remember, Visa are the official technology payment partner of the 2024 Paris Olympics. And so they're on the global stage, and the Olympic has been a great way to celebrate sport as a global experience, sportsmanship, of course, and national pride. And they are the global leader in digital payments, being connecting the power of sports, music, culture, and arts all the way in France. Oh, speaking about culture, arts, and all. You know, when you go to that Paris is sweet, it's a sweet place. So they're watching the Olympics, but you're seeing you're seeing the painters doing their own thing, and you can just be randomly walking and somebody will paint a nice picture of you. I need a nice picture of me. Maybe I should go to Paris with my Visa dollar card.
That's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. Should I take him?
Let's
Your gender likes to go. They will not win medal. They will not even not get to the final. If you insist. All right. So Visa is championing inclusivity and culture across the globe. They're the proud sponsors of Team Visa, a cohort of Olympic and Paralympic athletes with a diverse appearance at the Olympics. So Visa, with the Visa sponsorship, they've been able to get a full team of athletes from all around the world, both for this Olympics and the Paralympics that are coming. So yeah, championing inclusivity and all of that. So the Olympics, they're doing a great job for the athletes. They're doing a great job for the tournament. And if you want to get benefits, remember I told you on Monday, just go to visa.com.ng. There's some percentages off your flight tickets, off your hotel bookings, and off your shopping, so that you buy me one perfume, small perfume.
Let me keep.
All right, let's go to the story.
Let's go back to the story. Still talking about the Olympics. Basketball here, where the United States with 18 points from Devin Booker and 17 from Anthony Edwards routed Brazil 122 to 87 yesterday to go on the Olympic basketball semifinal. Serbia.
Yes, it's going to be a big one. Serbia almost lost it. Serbia was trailing by 24 points against Australia. 24. But yeah, they had to slog their way back in. It was like Nikola Jokic remembered who he was in the third quarter. He was like, oh, I'm MVP. I should play. I should play better. You know, it was a good fight back, and it was brilliant to see them turn that around and make it to the semifinals. But now they face the United States of America. Remember, they also lost the United States of America in the group stage. However, no two games are the same. So things can turn out very differently. And the United States of America were not convincing against Brazil yesterday. The only reason the scoreline was this bad was because Brazil are not the brightest bulb in the room when it comes to basketball. I would say that because defensively, America gave a lot of things up. Offensively, they were not dropping buckets. Look, I've said this before. KD on the Team America is great, but I don't know who that Steph Curry guy is, the one that is playing on the American team now. I don't know who he is.
Maybe Stefan Curry.
Maybe it's Stefan Curry. It's definitely not Waddell. He cannot knock down threes. He's not shooting. He's fouling every 2 seconds. I'm just like, who is this guy? And what have you done with the original Steph Curry? So not very brilliant plays, but I mean, because of the quality that they have, even when they're not working as hard as the other team,
right,
their quality just gets them over the hump. So it makes for an interesting one. The form of USA against the hard work of Serbia.
It's going to be a very interesting one. US definitely should not take this game lying
down. They could be beaten. They wake up like Spain. One blow to knockout.
All right, let's move on to the next story here. We're talking about our more Bronskies. Yes, the man of the hour. He said the defense of his Olympic gold pole vault crown in world record style came as no surprise as he had visualized it as in a million times when practicing as a child in his own backyard. I mean,
I don't know why they are saying practice as a child. We saw him during COVID-19. It's not like
this
it's long ago.
this guy, I mean,
Trust me, we saw him COVID-19, and I was so certain. You know, he said he won the gold, and then he said, what's the world record I set before? I said, he was one that set it before.
for the eighth time.
Yeah, he was
at
like,
that point.
what's the world record I set before? 6.24. Okay, make it 6.25. Let's just try. And I kid you not, I remember when he missed the first one, and then when he missed the second one, I was like, you jumped because he went over the bar, but he didn't move. So there's a technique. There's height and there's distance. So when you make the height, it's not enough. You also have to make the distance away from the bar. And he didn't get that distance right because he was so close to the bar, which is why he had to use his hand to protect and bring it down. And I was just like, you need to get that depth right. As I was analyzing in my house, I just heard his father, he went to meet his parents, and his father is his coach. So his father was pointing out to him that you have to have a point something depth. I was like, hey, Tega, you know book now. You know small book. It had to be that because he really went high over that thing. And when he says he has a 6.30 centimeter in him, I completely believe him because the height he scales over the bar, it leaves a lot in between. So if you ask me, he could have still done 6.28 on the day if he wanted to. So it was just getting that distance right. And so when they told him that, so his father told him that, then his other competitor, Sam Kendricks, who won the silver, was not telling him, make sure it's not 0.21 depth, it's 0.22 depth that you have to go. So you can even see even his rivals were pushing him, to go. And then when he scaled over that thing, I cannot believe it. It was 9:10. I remember it was 9 that happened.
it was.
I screamed. France was playing their match. My neighbor thought my feed was faster than his feed, and they had scored a goal. So that's my neighbor came. Why is your feed faster and they had scored a goal? I said, it's not goal, it's 4 volt. It's 4 volt.
Look, I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous.
It was a beautiful one to
this
see.
man has done broken his own world record.
Yeah.
9 different
And he's
times.
24, so he still has youthful exuberance. Because at 30, I'm not going to be pole vaulting. But 24, there's still that daredevil mindset. Yeah, so he can push for more. All right, let's take the next one.
On to the next story. And of course, we're still in Olympics territory. It's all about Paris 2024. The USA edged Germany in extra time to reach the Olympic women's football final. Sophia Smith scored the winning goal in extra time as the USA beat Germany 1-0 yesterday to advance to the Olympic women's football final.
Yes, so it was tough. Again, this is what I'm talking about US and Serbia in basketball, in men's basketball. US had met Germany in the group stage. They'd beaten them 4-1. It was a convincing, it was a convincing defeat. Then yesterday, Germany wanted to kill them. They're like, we've seen these Egyptians before now. They drowned in the river. Why are they here tormenting us?
They rose from their
They rose from their sheets. The dry bones became flesh again. And so it was such a tough one. But you could see that the Germans had grown into the tournament. They were a lot more defensively, especially. They had set up very well. But they were not only sitting back to defend, they were actually attacking the open spaces that US were living in. In fact, the US were actually under more pressure at some point, especially in the second half, to concede a goal than to score. It was when they got into extra time, you could tell that the Germans had exerted themselves so much in 90 minutes that they were running on gas, on fumes by the time they got into the extra time. And the US team, they're still warming up. They're ready to go on the marathon. I think that's what made the difference because of that extra energy, they just seem to have more mobility and they seem to spread the pitch a little bit more. They had the first opportunity that Swanson didn't score. She had rounded the goalkeeper and then took the ball and hit it in the net. So I was like, dude, no need to round the goalkeeper. 1-on-1, lift the ball over the goalkeeper. I like to talk too much. Put in the back of the net. Talk and do. Until you give me ball, I cannot do it. But I know what you should do. But I may not be able to do it. And then Smith did exactly the same thing I thought Samson would do earlier, and they got the goal. So the US are through to the final, and they face, shockingly, Brazil. Because Brazil yesterday beat Spain 4-2, and Spain, I can tell you for real, at the end of the match, they were stunned. They were like, "Wait, now maybe this." It was it was a surprise because because they were playing when they went 1 goal down. Remember, the first goal was an own goal. So when they went 1 goal down, they were like, we've gone from 2-0. It was 1-0. Then they went 2 goals down, and they had the entire second half. They're like, okay, we have time. Then 3 goals down. And then they looked like they were going to have a mini comeback. And in all this time that they were conceding these goals, they were dominating possession. They were holding on to the ball. But because they were pushing and looking for goals, they forgot the discipline of defending. So Brazil was always catching them on the counter. And it was always embarrassing because once the ball breaks, you'd see 3 Brazilian players with 2 Spanish defenders looking hapless. And that was it. It happened for the second goal. It happened for the third goal. At some point, you're going to learn. But it didn't happen like that. They didn't learn from it. And it didn't make matters exciting that the coach actually made 4 changes. I think her biggest change she made at the start of the match was benching Guijarro, the midfield maestro. Like, how do you bench a Guijarro? It's like benching Rodri. There's no injury, but Spain benching Rodri at the start of a match. Just think about it. If you're a coach, whether you come back alive, especially after you lost the match. So she did that, and her team struggled, but they're able to score 2 late goals. However, it was too little, too late, and they're out. So it is Brazil against the US for the gold medal, and Germany against Spain for the bronze.
Let's see if Malta will be able to sign out.
Yeah. All right. Let's take one more story.
Okay, let's take one more story here finally. And looking at Thierry Henry living a dream as France reached the Olympic final on the men's side.
That was the struggle. That was such a fight. Look, the French have not been convincing. If you ask me, like I say, the best team on the men's side, still the Spanish team. And but the French team have had 2 things going for them: the experience up front, because it was a strategic positioning of experience, the experience up front, and the home crowd. Because honestly, as much as I love Henry, I cannot say his tactical genius has gotten them here. I apologize, Thierry Henry, just in case you're watching. I can't say it's his tactical genius that got them here, but those 2 things are really paramount. Were really paramount in moving him here. So let's see how they perform in the final. It's sad. The 2 African countries made it to the semifinals. I expected at least one in the final. We're hopeful, but 2 of them are now going to be fighting for bronze. Let's see how it turns out. All right, let's take your messages because we're out of time.
Yes. Okay, let's begin with this one from this is Taya. Taya says, it's not the first time the NOC is messing things up. The lady that won US medal in hammer throwing also experienced the same thing, exactly what Tega said. Imagine being named favor and your country, they suffer you. Duplantis doesn't do much. Win gold, rush to his family, and plants kisses. The French.
He's not telling lies.
Victor says, you trained for the Olympics for 3 years, and Nigeria will fail you before and after your performance. Fever stays strong.
This is 2 Olympics, so it's not 1. It happened in Tokyo. It's happening now.
AY says, Fever might just be looking at our next now with a silver medal and be like, that should have been me. Beefy from K2 says, Tega, please clarify once and for all. Leave big English. Is Imane Khalif a man or a woman?
Again, nothing is one thing. So she's a registered female, and you cannot expect me to change her gender. She's a registered female, but her biology, that's why it's DSD. Her biology is male. So I don't know what you want me to say.
Oluwaseyi says, Nigeria doesn't help you to get to your destination or achieve anything as an athlete, boxer, or an academic, or anything else. Go and achieve what you need to achieve, and Nigeria will recognize you. Not before, but after. Let's see what we have here on some comments on YouTube.
Let's see the YouTube comments. All right. So Ibrahim Hassan says, that is why our athletes switch to other countries. A very silly administration has been running our sports. Good morning, Tim. Good morning to you too. And then Elke Aderegwa says, it's disgusting the way we treat our athletes. Anything that's not football does not get attention. Even football self doesn't get the attention sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm tired. In other news, EPL starts soon, and I think Chelsea is already a disaster. They are just poor defensively. They were aligned during the season. But don't give up. Then Idris Hussein says, "Good morning, locker room. Awesome, Tega. I see Kekere Eku. Please, something is wrong. Oh, okay. We are going to work on that."
Yeah.
And then Ibrahim Asa says I should leave his gender alone. I will not leave your gender alone, no, till you win medal for me. All right. On that note, I want to thank you for sending your messages into YouTube. I want to thank you for sending your messages into WhatsApp. I want to thank you for tuning in to Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Till I come your way again on Friday. Hopefully, we would have gotten a medal in Paris.
We really hope so. Thank you, Tega, as always, for joining me in the studio. Thank you all for your messages and being on the locker room. Smooth breakfast will continue more great music to come. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.